back, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you for returning to the program.
Daddy Issues.
With John Kingsbury.
How you been, Chris?
Pretty good.
Yeah?
Pretty good. Yes, sir.
Yeah, what you up to? What you up to these days, buddy?
Renovating, living, stuff in life. Starting this sober February.
Yes, we
boy,
are.
did I fail January 2 weeks in.
It's February 1st today. This is dropping February 2nd tomorrow, which is today for you who downloaded it. If you downloaded it on February 2nd.
But listen to it on the 3rd.
Then that's today. So this is yesterday or yesterday's yesterday. Or maybe you're listening to this a year from now. And it's a year ago. February 1st, 2020.
Okay.
We are doing Dry February.
Yes, we are.
Last night was our last beers.
Sure was.
How much did you drink? How much did you drink?
Oh, I had two 1 liter those big steins.
Yeah?
Yeah, Blanche de Chamblay, and I think I had 2 drinks when I got home to make sure all the booze was gone.
Okay.
There it's gone.
Okay. So, I also did 2 steins, the Blanche de Chamblay and the Flying Monkeys Raspberry IPA, which is delicious.
Yeah.
I did not have anything else when I got home. I do still have a can of beer in the fridge, and even Kate was like, there's a can of beer in the fridge, and I was like, you know what, babe? You can have it.
You go right ahead. Yeah.
Or it can just sit around, and I'll drink it in 29 days.
That's right. Exactly. 29 days.
29 days. Why are you doing this?
To prove to myself that I can. And to just be a little bit more cognizant of me, as well as saving a lot of fucking money.
That's the big thing.
That's the other thing, right? If I'm not spending at least $200 in booze every month.
That was my calculation too. It's about $200 in booze a month.
Let's do that jump properly. You know what I mean?
And I'm like, you know what? That $200, I'm gonna have to pay some money at taxes this year. I know that. That $200 is getting saved up for the tax man.
Yeah, exactly.
Taking my booze, government.
That's just it, and it'll send my tolerances way lower when I do want to have a drink again. Yeah. And it won't be, won't need as much alcohol to have the fun times.
I think the way that I'm looking at this is this is not me quitting drinking.
No.
It's I'm not going to be bound by February 29th. If March 1st comes, I'm not going to be like, I need a beer, or I'm having a celebratory beer. It's just, the next time I have a beer is going to be me being like, yeah, I'd like to sit down and have a beer, but it'll be after at least this month.
Yes. There you go.
So we won't be doing the beers for the next couple of episodes.
Yeah, we're not really plugging anything. We're going to be plugging H2O and or your favorite type of effervescent drink that has no flavor to it. Sponsored by a Buble.
Did you ever see that SNL sketch with John Hamm and Michael Bublé? And it was John Hamm captured Michael Bublé, and they opened up a restaurant called Ham and Bubbly. And it was literally, they just served ham and champagne. And the commercial is Michael Bublé singing about it while John Hamm's physically abusing Michael Bublé. You can tell he's never been kidnapped. It's very funny.
That's good. I'll have to look that one up.
Ham and Bubbly. Ham and Bubbly.
Ham and Bubbly. Ham and Bubbly milestones.
Yeah. We had so many shows over the last 2 weeks, man.
We did. We had, the run of 3 with our beer halls in Kinburn, and then I got a extra spot on Raleigh Burns Day on Lieutenant Pump, and
I'm doing Lieutenant Pump next Sunday.
Oh, yeah,
6, and then we're doing Finnegan's at 8.
That's right.
I'm hopping from Lieutenant's Pump from 6. It starts at 6, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll be there for 6:30.
6:30 start?
Yeah.
So I'll have to go bullet, and then I'll pop over to Finney's.
Yeah. I got some pump bucks if you want them.
Well, oh yeah.
Because you get paid for that show.
You get paid in pump bucks.
Which is pretty much like a meal, a couple drinks.
It depends on how long I'm going to be there. Just
Fair
because
enough.
if I'm popping out. We'll see.
Yeah.
And then it's Oscars that night.
Right.
Although I doubt I'm going to watch.
I
haven't
watched the Academy Awards since I was in high school.
We cut the cord, we cut cable, and we got Tech Savvy TV, through the internet, which streams live, websites and shit like that. So I could technically stream it from my phone using Tech Savvy TV.
Nice. Yeah, see, there you go. Cable's a tool just to be sold stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's pretty harsh.
Fuck.
Yeah, so on the next Friday, I have something at Wellington. I'm hosting Wellington.
Oh, you're hosting Wellington?
Yeah, I'm hosting Wellington.
Diner.
Yeah.
It's a Friday night, 9 o'clock show?
9:30 at the latest, 9 o'clock, yeah. It's a later show on Friday night. But I think Don Kelly's closing out. And
that's a good show.
Yeah, and a friend of mine who's traveling around with a production company that's helping for Hockey Day in Canada. Imran, he's out from Vancouver.
Oh, right, and they're bringing like a whole bunch of people to the show,
Yes, they are bringing a bunch of people to this one.
So it's going to be a full show. So like you'll want to go to that show. I might. Well, I was going to say I might pop out for a pint, but I'm not going to do that.
No, I'm taking the meal this month at Wellington.
That's always the better deal: is to take the meal and then buy your own beer.
That's exactly it.
Like if you're going to pay me in a meal or a beer,
I'm
going to take the meal.
Unless I'm an Irishman, then I'll take the Guinness.
Which is your meal.
Yeah.
Okay. That's cool.
So yeah, that's that. And then the Sunday we're doing with
Piranha.
The Piranha. I remember that's one of the first stages that I got on in Ottawa comedy in the summer when I was first here.
Oh.
Summer 2010.
I don't even know where it is.
Oh, it's on Montreal Road. Right next to Sketchy Hooker Hotel and the graveyard.
Oh, the Concord.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, Concord Hotel.
Okay, cool. So you've been doing some renovating. We've been doing shows. Maddie started eating solid foods.
Yay!
Maddie's sleeping in her own bed.
Nice.
Room. Oh.
Nice.
Things are going smooth.
Things are going good. Not too much changed on my kidlet's front.
Okay.
Erica and Eddie are pretty good.
We actually had Maddie in as our guest today.
Yes, she was a great guest. She said so much with her eyes that it was
She
incredible.
did get like one of those like little ahs out at one point.
Yeah, she had to be in on that conversation as well. You guys will hear it shortly here.
Yeah.
With our good friend here, Rick Currie.
Rick Currie, yeah, we have Mr. Rick Currie on here. If you don't know who Mr. Rick Currie is, to me, Rick Currie is the epitome of Canadian comedy.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. A Canadian touring comic who's written for an important institution.
Like, I get that there's a comedian that calls himself the Canadian guy or that Canadian guy or whatever.
Yeah.
100% to me, Rick Currie as a traveling comedian has just written about Canada.
That's right.
And he jokes about Canada, and then he wrote for Rick Mercer for 8 years, the comic that legitimizes Canadian comedy, right?
That's right.
Being able to write Canadian content for Canadians to laugh at.
It's a real treat to have the Canadiana himself on today.
Yeah, like
absolutely.
He's one of those comics that I saw multiple times before I ever started doing comedy. He's one that like every time I see him, I have a different story for like when I saw you before I started doing comedy.
Yeah,
I drop one in this.
Yeah, you drop it in this one. Yeah.
But there's other ones where like I remember certain jokes that he doesn't do anymore.
Yeah,
because I would see him do some of those like Tuesdays and Wednesday nights where he's trying out new shit.
Yeah, It's the first time I was really realized who Rick Currie was. It had been after I'd seen Rick, and then I'd seen a style. I'm just like, that's so familiar. And then I was just all like, someone told me, oh yeah, no, he writes for Rick Mercer. I'm like, where do I know that bit from? And they were just like, yeah. So it's really neat, to put that connection together. I must have been like 2 years in or something.
So yeah, that's cool. We're gonna just jump straight on into our episode then. Thank you for tuning in. We will get more content flowing more regularly. Apologies for the hiccups. It's the new year. We're all dads here. And we're so fucking tired.
I'm not.
Here's Rick Currie.
Parents, are you finding it hard and difficult to find some quality time together with your partner?
Cocaine.
Do you simply wish there were just more hours in a day?
Cocaine.
Well, have you heard of cocaine?
Cocaine!
That's right, cocaine. Tried, tested, and true. Let's listen to some of these happy customers' reviews.
Cocaine!
There you have it, folks. Cocaine. Consult your local dealer today.
Cocaine.
Hey everybody!
Welcome back.
We're here with Rick Currie. Mr. Rick Currie, Mr. Rick Currie.
One of them must. Yeah, one of us at least. Yeah,
Well, yeah, for
there
sure.
are other Rick Curries.
Yes.
There's a guy in jail in Florida.
Florida man's Rick Currie? Nice!
That's right. Yeah.
There's a guy from Iowa named Matthew Champ Dick who is also in jail.
Oh.
How about that?
Yeah.
Right.
Drug possession and trafficking.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Mine was a master goldsmith who was like forging.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty good.
That's pretty good, yeah.
Has that ever, like, affected your career? Like, someone Googled the wrong Rick Currie, and they're like, oh, we can't have him come and perform?
No. Although, like, you know, way long ago, like when I was just out of high school, I took the taxi course to get a taxi license. And my name came up as somebody who had punched a cop in Edmonton.
Now,
So they brought me into a room.
hometown,
Did you ever
everyone.
punch a cop in Edmonton? Not yet, I
Not
said.
yet.
Not yet.
Sometimes the other thing I sometimes get confused for is there is a gay porn star by the name of Matthew Camp.
Oh.
And so his Instagram is at Matthew Camp and mine is at Matthew Champ. And so sometimes I get tagged by his fans in these comments being like, Matthew Champ's cock is so big, I would totally suck it all day long. Oh, it was just fun. Thank you, but I'm in a relationship.
Nice ego boost, though.
I know. I feel like, honey, another one.
Start listing them as credits. That's great.
You can bring me up on stage to the.
Road Gagger 99.
We got some getting to know you questions before we like jump straight into the daddy shit.
Okay.
So you want to take the first
Let's
one?
get to
for
know
sure.
us.
Yeah.
What's your favorite joke you've ever written?
Oh, my favorite joke I've ever written.
Or like bit that's ever like happened because of you.
Oh, frig, I don't know. That's a tough one right off the top there. I can tell you there is a joke that I wrote when I, like, literally, maybe it might be on the very first time I did stand-up. I have the tape of that. I should probably listen to it. That I might have done last week.
Okay.
About, but it's a terrible joke. But I still...
Still one of your faves.
I don't even know if it's a favorite. It's just it works well, you know.
It's consistent.
Yeah, exactly. Just this one about Fort Louisburg and the tour guide with the Eastern accent who would say fart instead of fort, you know, and go, it's a French fart, you know. And I think I did that like in 1989, and I think I'm still doing it.
Nice.
Fort Louisburg is actually really cool. Like, have you been? Yeah, obviously, you did. You did the jokes about it, right?
Yeah.
I went there. We enjoyed ourselves.
Yeah, it is cool. Yeah, and I don't know. I like talking about I don't know why, but Canadian tourist places.
Do you do a lot of like vacationing in Canada? Is that what you do then?
No. Well, I mean, I don't vacation. I've done a lot of touring in Canada. That's for sure. I've crossed the country a number of times.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. What was the first concert you ever attended? We'll go easier with this one.
Okay. That was Carlos Santana with Eddie Money opening at the Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto, and I was going to see Eddie Money. I didn't know. But he was pretty good.
Good too, Santana, yeah.
And the T-shirt I bought was an Eddie Money T-shirt. Like I was probably in grade 7, and when you turned it inside out, you could see it was a Rush T-shirt, probably from like the week or 2 weeks before that they had, like sort of
Flip it inside out.
Yeah,
Press a new one.
exactly. Yeah, they just put Eddie Murphy iron on the other side of it. Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's so funny. It's like, well, it's a twofer now.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, I wished I had the Rush T-shirt. Yeah.
Who's the first? Is it first? Who's the first? Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Who's the first comic you ever saw that you wanted to get into comedy? Who's your big influence? Like, if you had one.
Oh, well, when I was growing up, we listened to a lot of albums, a lot of comedy albums.
Right,
It was just a thing to
the album,
do, right? Yeah, because people just listen to albums of everything. And So we listened to Monty Python, and Steve Martin, of course, was the first guy to come out with the huge albums, and I always liked laughing. I liked. Now I'm blanking on that. I shouldn't be blanking on his name. Hello there. He was on Beat the Clock. Anyways, he was hilarious. This old Jewish comedian. And anyways, I loved him when I was in grade 1. And the Monkees.
George Burns?
No, it'll come to me in the next 2 minutes if I stop thinking about it. It'll come.
Great how that one goes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, my favorite comedian is a guy whose name I can't
remember right now.
Can't recall. No, but I just mean he was one of the first funny people I saw, and I used to love watching him on Beat the Clock. So anyways, so we listened to Steve Martin. Back then there was even Bill Cosby albums. People listened to a lot of Bill Cosby albums.
You know where you can find a lot of Bill
Newhart.
Cosby albums right now?
Sure, yeah, Newhart, yeah, for sure.
Value Village has all the Bill Cosby albums right now. I'm flipping through vinyl there, and it's just like Cosby.
Yeah, because everybody had them. You're right, and nobody wants them anymore. Yeah.
Where I got some of my best Michael Jackson vinyls too is at the Value Village. I'm like, you know what? I'll take these ones. This will be the cross I die on.
It's funny. It's funny. Sometimes you can separate the art from the person. Other times,
like, nope. There you go. It's just good value.
I don't really need that art anyways.
I was like, Thriller for $4? Okay.
Yeah. You look, check it's like the original pressings too. No problem.
Don't even worry. I'm not even listening to it. I'm not even
there. You could just beat it all the way home. All right, no, that's not around.
That's not bad. I got that one too. It's like $7. All right. What's your favorite smell?
My favorite smell. I do like the smell of weed. I know people say it's terrible, but you walk into a rock concert or whatever, and there's just that slight tinge in the air. That's nice. I also like just fresh air, almost like marshy air, wetlands air in the summer, like in July or August. I don't know if you can really describe that, but a place where there's a lot of cattails and lily pads right at dusk.
Okay, like kind of a marshy pond, cottage area.
Yeah, just so full of oxygen, right? There's just so much green stuff around that,
Yeah,
I guess, I don't know, yeah.
Oh, that's fair.
Nice.
I mean, All right,
I
never really thought about my favorite smell, but that's a good one.
All right, last one.
What's your favorite Ray Liotta film?
Oh, yeah. Does he, no, I've got him mixed up with he's not in The Deuce, right? He isn't, that's James Franco.
That's James Franco.
Yeah. Right. Can you name me some Ray Liotta films? And I'll pick one out of the list. I don't know. We're here to talk about daddy issues, and I haven't seen a movie in 16 years.
There you go. Milestone.
I was about to say, there's no right answer, but there's many wrong answers, and not knowing a Ray Liotta film is a right answer. Like, we can include that.
Well, there you go. Yeah, I'm sorry. I bet you.
Goodfellas. Goodfellas.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
Yeah.
Oh, I know who you're talking about now. Yeah. Of course, Goodfellas is a great movie. Yeah.
We also would have accepted Tommy Vercetti in the game Grand Theft Auto Vice City. He's
Vice
Games.
He's his voice in that. Yeah. No, he's actually.
I know.
We actually.
I'm really bad with that.
Also in the murder room today, we've got my daughter. She's going to be hopefully behaving.
She's doing a killer job on the phone.
She's actually she's seen a Ray Liotta film. So
is that right?
Yeah, she watched Marriage Story.
Oh, yeah.
So she now knows what it looks like when Kate and I get in a divorce. She knows what it's going to look like. It was her prep.
Wow, that was
I'm only joking.
All right,
Don't worry.
Still not telling us. All right, good talk. No.
So we got Rick Currie with us today. Rick Currie, you are a stand-up comic that travels across our great nation. Actually, when I think of Canada, I kind of think of Rick Currie because, you were like a huge part of writing for Rick Mercer, and Rick Mercer for me is the Canadian comic.
Right. Well, that's what we write about is Canada.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, super important to all of us. How'd you come about that gig?
That just knowing Rick down there, and then.
No, I never met Rick before I started working there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. No, I just I knew a couple of the other writers though. I knew all the writers. You just sort of run into each other doing stand up. Right? You work together. You spend a weekend in Regina together or whatever. Yeah. And
sparkling careers on fire. Yep. That's Regina.
But one guy in particular, Greg Eckler, I'd worked with at the Bullard show. Like I used to write for Mike Bullard.
For Mikey.
Yeah, and anyways, a seat opened up at the Mercer show. That's a long story. Erwin Barker passed away.
Yes.
Yeah, he was a legend, you know. And we could make a whole podcast about that. But nonetheless, they were looking for a writer, and my name had come up, and so they put me on a 6-week contract,
cool.
like a trial thing.
Yep.
And then it was 8 years.
Nice.
Because you wrote with them all the way to the end, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I still write for them, like for whatever we do, like the New Year's Eve shows and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
nice.
Cool to have.
Yeah, that's
What Chris is trying to ask really with the question is, can you get him a job?
I'll build sets. I'll do anything. Just stick me in a room with a microphone. No, just wondering how that came about. Just organic.
Yeah, just organic. They just knew the guys, and Gerald Lunds, he's the executive producer. He came to Ottawa, and we met down on Bank Street, Old Ottawa South, right? You know, and we just had a talk, and he said, "Yeah, we're gonna give this a try. Come to Toronto, and like we said, we'll do a 6-week trial thing." And I got a couple things on the air. Like the first thing I wrote was horrible. It was probably 4 pages long.
Wow.
They need things that are like 30 seconds, or 50 seconds. So I wrote this 2-page thing with the Queen in it, where it says Rick does the Queen's accent, but like I don't know if you know Rick Mercer, but he never does accents. I didn't know there's like really a lot of rules about what we do and don't do. And I broke every one of them.
Your first piece.
I'm the new guy. How do you do? Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm just going to take this memo and sit down now.
Yeah. But I figured it out like after a week or two. I kind of, I got a couple things on the air, and then they said, okay, well, we'll do the rest of the season. And then that's the way it always was just year to year. Except at the end, we knew. At the end, they told us 3 years in advance. They said we signed a 3-year contract, but at the end of that, we're going to bow out. And
did you have like an NDA for that? Like, because they didn't break that news 3 years ahead of time, did they?
Probably not. No.
Okay.
But no, there's no NDA. But I think it was just sort of. I guess you probably. Well, I don't know. I'm sure I did tell some people about it.
We can't say it.
I retract everything I just said.
Nothing over here.
No, it's not like it's not like Canada has paparazzi that cares about that stuff. I don't have Ben Mulrooney knocking on the door like, how many years left are there anyway? It's not. It's not British.
I didn't get my address, Ben Mulrooney. I could get all sorts of addresses.
I worked with Ben Mulrooney before.
Oh yeah, nice.
Well, I do publicist work for a movie studio. And
okay, that explains all the.
He's just a sick freak.
No, I'm just a sick freak.
Okay. Okay.
One of the first times I actually saw you do stand up was before I did stand up, and I was judging the Absolute Comedy Premier Comic competition, and you were hosting, and Josh Williams had put down a list of the hosts and where they were from, and at that time I was doing a lot of work for Paramount Pictures. And he's like, and our next guy here, he works for Paramount Pictures, and then he took like 5 minutes to be like, fuck that, nobody in Ottawa works for Paramount Pictures. like what? You like do that? Yeah, you're like what? You went to like LA once, and you went through the Paramount Pictures studio, and they gave you like an I'm Special employee badge, and you now think you work for Paramount Pictures, and you're like,
Oh, what an asshole.
It was so funny. Oh my god, I loved it. That was the first time I ever saw you. It was like it stuck.
Oh, okay, good.
I knew Rick Currie after that.
Yeah, we had a moment. Oh, good.
Nice.
Now, you are also a dad. Getting
I
to the
am.
main issue at
Well,
hand.
why-
Right, that's what, yeah.
While you're here.
Why are you here? I'm not in the room today. It's because you're a father.
Yeah. No, I'm sure a lot of listeners tune in for fatherly advice.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what?
Just
you wouldn't be
a little bit
amazed.
of,
You'd
yeah.
be amazed.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, actually, like, I'm surprised that
Yeah.
our numbers. Yeah, they're like consistent numbers from certain areas of the world.
Yeah.
California loves us. Or
Yeah.
hates
Hey!
us.
Or,
I don't know.
yeah, either or. Either
And
there's
then-
some weird blogs going on about us or something out there we haven't found. But, yeah, we got some good
Michigan as well.
Oh, hello, Michigan.
We have
Hello,
we have a
Michigan.
weird Sweden contingency that like
yeah.
yeah, it's
Yep.
weird. I don't know anybody in Sweden.
I don't either.
But-
Maybe I do by proxy.
Maybe we just haven't.
One of my clients, I
made-
set him on a podcast, and she's probably related. We'll track that down. So who knows? Or maybe just some Swedes were like really high, and they're like, "Listen to these dads, they're so fucked up. Oh my god,
They don't even speak English,
Yeah.
but we're their favorite
It's nice
podcast.
noise in the background, yeah.
I'll take it. I will take it.
Well, they sharpen their fishing knives and
Go have some
take
lutefisk
their
and
hockey
left.
sticks.
How you got two, right?
I have two daughters.
Two
yes.
daughters.
Yep.
How old?
15 and 16.
15 and 16. So like you
Yeah.
went like back to back on them.
Back to back, yeah.
Did you know you guys were gonna do back to back?
No. No, I think we knew we were going to have two. Like the first one, we definitely we wanted to start a family for
Yeah.
sure. So the first one was planned. The second was also planned, but didn't.
Came early.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of showed up before we were really ready. Yeah, like that was crazy at first because Haley, the first one, she was 15 months when the second one came. So, there were just two babies in the house. So, normally you have a baby and you can kind of pass it off to your spouse, just to get a little break. Just here, take the kid. I'm going to go out and have a smoke on the porch or whatever. And, I would hand her a baby and she would hand me a different one back. It's like, no, that wasn't the point. The point was...
You have two hands.
Yeah, you're supposed to have two babies and I have none. So it was, but at the same time, you kind of go through the whole diaper phase all at once and then you go through another phase all at once and I don't know if that's good or bad, but...
I'm not sure either. It was just, I can't imagine, having some kid running around. I'm exhausted already, right? I've never been this tired, and people warned you, saying,
Right.
becoming a dad, you're never going to be this tired. And here we are, where it's just
Yeah.
I could not imagine chasing a second child around.
Yeah, doubling down like that. Amanda and I almost had Irish twins as well.
Right, yeah.
And it just didn't work out. And she was heartbroken. It's hard. It was a miscarriage. And then, I just told her, hey, it's just a pause for the next one to come. You know what I mean?
Right.
And she was like, I'm pretty thankful at the same time, as much as it sucked. But I'm very thankful we didn't have that Irish twins case. Because it's like, whoa,
Yeah.
our son is a firecracker.
Right.
Yeah, just boom, run. And
Whoa,
oh
yeah.
yeah, right across the property. And I'm like, well, the next one's like that too. She is. And it's a good thing we didn't have them in that. I guess.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Well,
Yeah.
I think that was our savior. I don't know how it happened, but somehow I've got two really good girls.
Nice.
Two well-behaved girls.
And which one of them is your favorite?
It changes from day to day.
Oh, okay.
Minute to minute. Yeah.
It's a coin.
Whatever happened last, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Some milestones. is
Yeah,
what
we kind of wanted to talk
about.
a little bit about milestones because, our kids, my kid right now is 5 months. Our milestone is she's eating solids for the first time, right?
Nice.
And,
Oh,
and
yeah.
we're getting up to the crawling stage, and she's now sleeping on her own, which is fantastic. And Chris has got hey, our kids just went to school milestone, and
Nice.
they're the walking and the talking milestones. You have young adults in the house.
That's
In
right.
Today's day and age, you are as a father, you are the father of the oldest children who have come onto this podcast.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Yes.
So,
okay,
like-
I've set a record.
Yeah, the benchmark's up there.
So
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
wisdom exceeds all the other guests. we
Oh,
have had
no,
so
I doubt
far.
that. Yeah.
And I did want to talk about milestones because we put so much importance behind them, and so I wanted to know: are there any milestones that stick out for you that are like favorite moments in your child's or in your development as a dad and your life, kind of growing up with these two parasitic
Right, I
beings?
see. Yeah. Well, I mean,
Symbiotic.
other than the like the predefined milestones, like you're saying, like the graduations and eating food and just the little
Not shitting themselves.
yeah, not shitting themselves. My oldest driving is the latest milestone that we've
Nice.
gone through,
Okay.
and yeah, like that's intense, because it's the consequences are real, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
And
G1.
Is that the learner?
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah,
okay.
G1. Yeah. But she's already counted to the day when she can get her G2. Like she got her G1 when she was 16, like the day after her birthday,
Okay.
and is already counting the days when she can have her G2. Like she's a lot like me. She needs to go. She likes to travel,
That's a lot of
see things.
new added responsibility for her, but also like a new added terror level for you.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a double edge, because you spend the years from, I don't know, maybe 7 to 16 driving, right? Like whether it's to gymnastics or swimming lessons or something, or their friends to a movie, whatever. Like you're the chauffeur, So there is a bit of a, when she can drive herself, you suddenly get a lot of freedom back.
That's
right?
fair.
But at the same time, you're giving away your car, which is worth money, and she can hit things that are worth more money.
Yeah.
But I guess that's what insurance is for, anyways, right?
Yeah,
So-
that's right.
My
But also, people can get hurt. Like you worry about that. That happens, but you can't control it.
My brother actually was just in a Tim Hortons a few weeks ago, and this young girl who just gotten her G2 like the day before hit his car in the parking lot 3 times and then drove off. And he was out there like taking photos. He didn't know the situation obviously, but he calls the cops, and the cops go to the girl's house, and this girl's second day of G2, and
Jeez.
mother's just like, I have 4 children. I can't really afford my insurance rates to go up. Please, let's do this outside of insurance.
Well, yeah, I hear if you add them as a casual driver on your own car, it's not so bad. But if they have their own car, the insurance is insane.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It is.
$300 and some odd dollars a month for certain times, probably something like that.
Maybe.
I know it was.
I don't
I know
know.
my
Yeah, thousands and thousands. I know
dollars.
that.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. But I remember getting my license at 16, and my mom having that same kind of anxiety. And I think her sentiment was, "I gave birth to you. Now I gotta give you something that could take someone's life away. I can't be here."
Right.
Get out of the. Nope. I'll drive in the car behind.
My parents let me drive before I turned 16. I don't know, did you do that? Did you let her drive around the block or something?
3 days before. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we rented a cottage, so we were on some back cottage roads.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that was the thing. Is my grandparents live in the Bruce Peninsula, and my parents are from London, so it's 3 hours through back roads to get out there. So anytime we went to visit their grandparents, after the age of 14, they're little stretches. They're like, Matthew can drive this stretch, and they let me learn and kind of.
Oh, that's cool. So right on the highway.
Yeah, well, it was just it's a country road. So,
Right, I see. Yeah. Yeah.
It was fun.
That's cool.
I always got
That's
distracted
cool.
by animals, though. There's one time there's a fox. I'm like, look, a fox! And I'm swerving into the ditch.
Yeah, you forget you're driving, right? Yeah.
Don't do
Squirrel.
That's
Yeah.
the biggest thing when you first start. When I first started, I drove right into a parked car because I kind of forgot I was driving. I was pointing to something to,
Oh, jeez.
and then bang! Oh shit!
Oh, gosh. I know. I've never been in an at-fault accident.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, I had my license for maybe a week, and I was going really slow. Like I say, I was pointing at it was a store that I used to work at. And I was just like, I used to work there, and yeah, so I was going really slow, but I just bonk right into this parked car. And but my dad was cool about it, so So I have to take that parenting, that example he set, and hopefully pass that on. Like, if something happens, just be cool about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, like, because there's a real chance to, like, damage a relationship in the way you react to something like that, too, right?
Yeah.
Like, if your dad had come out swinging, it's going to be it's gonna be a completely different story than, like, grace and empathy and consequences, but consequences that fit.
Right.
How do you think that you're able to mirror that?
It's funny you say that, because we had times where I had overreacted in the past, like when I was going to Toronto a lot, like my wife was basically raising the kids,
Mm-hmm.
and it wasn't easy for her, I'm sure. And so I would get phone calls that this happened and that happened. And, so I feel like that I had to come home and lay down the law, like, like, you be good here, boy. So I became like the disciplinarian,
The enforcer.
So when you were home, you were a
enforcer.
bad cop.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And, but then you realize that doesn't, like, yelling is actually, it doesn't help, is what I'm saying. It's it does the opposite. There's a word for this. I'm trying to counterproductive. That's it. Yeah, it's counterproductive. Like, because it doesn't make anybody want to behave better.
No.
It makes them not want to listen to you more. Right.
Yeah.
So,
Or depending on how combative it is, it's the response where they come back a notch higher than you.
well, that can that's a danger too. Right. That does happen. It can happen.
Yeah, the other way.
Yeah, and then it just then you just start spiraling upwards, and
So you found that, like, the time in Toronto impacted the way that your relationship was developing with your daughters?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, unfortunately, like,
When you were, because you've been in Ottawa full time now for a while, right?
yeah. Spring of 2018, we stopped.
Okay, so, like, what types of things do you guys do as a family to, like, build that family time together, or to interact and share
Riding.
moments?
We do a lot of riding.
Okay.
Like horseback riding.
Right on.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what we used to do. Like, because like our TV season was like a university year. Like, it went from September to April, so even less than a university year.
Yeah.
So, but that was really intense. Like, when we were in production, there was nothing else that you really had time for. Yeah, you had a deadline every day. So. So when we weren't in production, though, which was most of the year, like, we did 20 episodes a year. So out of 52 weeks, there were still 32 weeks a year when I wasn't on.
Mm-hmm.
Like we did a lot of horseback riding and shows, and we'd go to the barn like 3 times a week. And
Okay.
I was a barn dad.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Like that, every kid wants to have their own little pony, right?
Well, that's the thing. That's why I'm trying to make up for,
for being the heavy for so long.
Well, being the heavy, but also just for not being there for most of their school year.
Yeah.
So I tried what do you want, a pony? Okay. He's got a pony.
Let's go, girls.
Yeah.
I guess that's one way to do it, man.
Yeah.
Like, I hope that
we tried to make up for lost time,
Yeah.
because we did lose some time, like, over those years.
Yeah. Now they're coming up, like, in the next couple of years, university, college. Are they going to be leaving town? How are you feeling about that?
Well, I don't know if they will or not. My oldest, she has a plan. Like, she's a planner, and she likes to know what's going on, what's happening next. So she's planning to go to Carleton, I think, for 3 or 4 years, get like a Bachelor of Science, and then she wants to go to Guelph and take veterinary medicine.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So
animals, a lot of animals in the house then, and the
well, it's all the horse riding. There are a lot of
horses.
vets around, and she works in a vet's office now. Like, she in Barhaven. She's worked there for like 2 years almost now.
She's got a plan. She's driven.
Yeah, like, it's true. It's unbelievable. Like, she's taking all science courses. Like, she's in grade 11. She's not even her last year of high school, but she's taking all science courses, and nailing them down. And
I find that in high school, though, they're pushing you to kind of have to figure out where you need to be very quickly on. Like, by grade 11 and 12 is they're kind of pushing for you to have these types of plans nowadays.
Seems to be, eh? Yeah, I don't know. I've told her that, look at you. you're awesome in science and biology, and like you keep on this path, you know. But if at some point on the path you decide you know maybe it's not veterinary medicine, most people end up going down different paths and taking forks in the road. So don't you know, just have your goal, go for it. But if you end up taking a left turn along the way, you're still brilliant in science. Like, it's still going to work somehow, somewhere. You know? Yeah, so that's...
Yeah, maybe Monsanto will pick you up on contract.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, there you go. You make some Roundup. And
Start giving us cure for cancers that you've been creating, Monsanto.
Yeah, no, she's also, you know, concerned with climate change, which I guess most that generation is, so... You know, she could put it to work that way. Well, we don't have to worry. But
accurate. Anyway.
Well, yeah, unfortunately, yeah, but yeah. So, anyways, yeah, and the other one, I don't think she has figured out exactly, but she's only in grade 9.
Okay.
Yeah, she was born in January, so there's a year of school between them. One's in grade 11, one's in grade 9. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. That gives it like more of a separation, or did that?
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
Okay.
It separates the friends and whatnot, but they even go to separate schools. One goes to Borden, one goes to Woodruff. And,
okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, they have their own social lives.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I used to do some counseling work at Borden.
Oh, cool.
It's one of the schools. I used to work in the schools doing some counseling.
Doing counseling?
Yeah, it's fun.
Oh, okay.
So how were you, when the kids are growing up, how were you, I mean, you write clean for Mercer. How were you with the swears around the house? How was there?
Oh, not good.
No?
Yeah, I guess our girls know that, you know, language is language. And, you know, there's times and places for every word. And sometimes that time came around too much, you know. Like, I think I probably swore more in the house well, I don't know. Maybe not more than most people, but liberally.
Wouldn't that be great? Just to be like a swear counter in each house.
Yeah, as long as we're not being gross or whatever about it, you know.
Difference between hate speech and...
Well, there's a difference between abusive speech.
That's right.
Which is the speaking or swearing at somebody, and then just the speech of swearing, right?
Well, exactly, yeah.
A word's a fucking word, but
Right.
It was like a word's a fucking word, you fucking fuck it.
Yeah.
Becomes a little bit different.
A little bit more assertive.
Yeah. A little bit more aggressive. It goes from the assertive to the aggressive, right?
Yeah, well, I can tell you, here's a story about how casual I was with that. I remember they were little, you know, and of course we had a minivan because they were little, you know, we had two little ones. And we were driving through the Byward Market, and I told you my older one, she's, you know, wants to be a vet. She's had this her whole life, you know, so she notices a guy in the Byward Market, and she's probably 4 or 5, you know, kindergarten age. Mm-hmm. And she sees this guy through the window with a dog, and she says, "Dad, that dog doesn't have a leash on it." And I said, "Oh yeah, I guess, you know, some people just trust their dog not to wander into traffic, I guess." And, yeah, but Jesus, fuck. That's what she said. Oh my God. That came a little too easily.
That was effortless. Nice.
That's
I'm
right.
in contact.
Yeah, it just rolled right out as though that was the proper thing to say. I gotta watch myself when I'm driving. You know?
Love that. There is here's the thing: is like you being in the position where your kids are more grown up. I'm sure they've seen your comedy. Like our kids and all the guests that we've had on so far, the kids have been like under 5 or 6, so they haven't necessarily been able to see Daddy stand up or like get embarrassed by it. What's your daughter's reaction to you doing stand up and the comedy that you do produce?
It's funny because they kind of they don't really pay much attention to it, you know. Like my one daughter Jessie came out to a couple of shows. I think she was curious, you know, so she came out to a couple of shows about 2 years ago when she was about 14 or 13 or 14. I brought her to a couple of shows because, like I say, I'm not really trying to shield them from any language or concepts or whatever. Like,
Just shield them from the
let
comedians.
the world is the world. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I wasn't worried about any content or anything.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, so yeah, she came to a couple of shows. Actually, my other one when she was really young. Well, sorry.
It's all
We'll
good.
get it in post-production. My alarm went off, too.
I'm not going to get it in post-production. I'm just going to let this ride.
Nice. Riding it on.
Unless you need to take that. Then I can
No, I'll get that later. Yeah. Sorry. I forget what I was saying, but.
You were bringing her to a couple shows, 12, 12 13, 14.
Yeah, my other one, though, the older one, when she was probably 7 or so, came to a nice show, like it was in a theater, and there were some people from the Air Force were there. It was a CBC-ish type of thing, you know, and so I went and of course they've always been part of my act, you know, so I talked about that in my act and whatnot. And at the end of the night, they brought us out onto the stage for a curtain call. To take a bow, so I brought her with me, like holding her hand, and you could hear like a raise in the roar of the crowd, like as they're applauding when she came out. They it went up a notch, you know, and you could see she really liked that. She had a big smile. You know?
Or 15 seconds, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right.
So she's a singer, though. She's not a comedian, but she does perform singing sometimes.
Do you feel like that's like it's a talent is a genetic thing and just doesn't have to be the same talent brand, you know? Just, you're passing it on.
I don't know. I think talent is just a loss of inhibitions, you know?
Okay.
Yeah, I think everybody can do
So
what...
talent is alcoholism.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. There you go. We've nailed it. Yeah.
Woo,
We've knocked it down.
talented. We're all very talented. That's very good.
Yeah, I think everybody's got something in them, right?
Yeah, that's for sure. That's where it lies.
That's fair enough. I sometimes worry about the trauma that my daughter will, if she ever like finds old YouTube clips of, like, you've seen over the last couple of weeks we've worked together and it's just been talking about how much I hate the idea of having a baby, but it's fine. And she gets in like, she's like, wait, does Daddy not love me?
You know, like it is a thing at our house that everybody, I don't know if they're happy about it or not, right? But everybody has to accept that my act is a fantasy world. It might be sort of based in reality or inspired by reality, but when I talk about my kids or my wife or anything in my act, it's made up. You know, it is, you know, like. You know, because my act, you know, it's silly sometimes. You know, like how my wife got a boob job, but we could only afford one
Of
boob.
them. Yeah.
You know,
Wait, that's not real.
Obviously not. You know, like, so, you know, so they know the difference between when I'm joking and when I'm talking really about them. You know, so so luckily that's the case. But yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll see.
But we did have to, you know, we did have to establish that at some point. Like, they did have to understand that he's not really talking about me per se. You know?
With Kate,
even though he's up there talking to people saying my daughter, it's not really me. Oh, I don't know. There's going to be some therapy.
Oh, for sure.
For sure.
Everything happens. I'm like that's going to contribute to the therapy bill. And I know that as a therapist. Oh, hi. My partner just got back.
Oh, nice.
Do you want the baby? Oh, she wants the baby.
I can see why. She's a cutie.
All right. There you go. Sorry about that.
That's okay. We should probably, we're over time.
Yeah,
now.
no,
Yeah.
I just
Actually,
want...
we're in a perfect window.
I was just going to say, like, to close on that, and then we can close off, is what we do with my niece and my nephew, is we say that anything that Uncle Matthew says, you have to run by another adult to know if it's the truth or not, because I make jokes with them all the time.
Oh,
right?
I see.
So, we're eating, and I'm like, oh, the monkey brain soup today is delicious, and then they all, like, look around, and it's like, Uncle Matthew's joking. It's monkey finger soup, you know. It's sweet, but they know it's like they'll like I'll say something like as a joke and they'll laugh, and then they'll just look over at their mom or dad or at Kate, and they'll be like, so,
Silly Uncle
It's true.
Sam.
Yeah, you can get because they don't understand sarcasm, right? At first, like they don't really
catch along. Yeah.
get that. Yeah.
All right, we will sign off. It's been great having you on here, Mr. Currie.
It's been great to be on.
The very last question we ask all of our dads is for one piece of parenting advice that got you through parenting.
Patience and a realization that you're not the be all end all. You should feed this kid and clothe them, but they're going to do their own thing regardless. You can help them along their path, or you can resist it, but they're going to go on their path.
Yeah.
So just be patient and give them the environment to flourish without putting your own constructs on them. Just let them. Guide them, but let them grow in their own direction.
Solid advice. Appreciate it.
That's the best I can tell.
Much. They will get interference, and they're going to be just
And
fine.
then none of your kids will ever get a doctorate.
Heard it straight from Rick Currie.
They'll never really amount to much because you never push them.
Thanks so much for being with us today,
Thanks,
Rick.
man, yeah.
If
My
people want to find
pleasure.
you online, how can they find you? Like to stalk you.
RickCurrie.com.
RickCurrie.com.
Yeah.
You've heard it here. All right. I'm just going to press stop.
Just
now.
do that.
Well, that's our episode, everybody.
Hope everybody had fun. It's a great conversation. It was a
Thank
great
you.
guy. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Thank you. We need to thank Heather Hurst, Freddie Jones,
our music man,
Jacob Pollack, the
That's
music
right.
man, Rick Currie. We don't have a what we learned this week. Sorry, we didn't learn anything. Chris, it's time for our Dick of the Week.
Dick of the Week.
Dick of the Week. Who is our Dick of the Week this week, Chris?
Igor Sarkovsky.
Fucking hell.